Aloha! I just want to do a quick intro and tour of my 55-gallon tank. I did a quick video on a review of the light and the power heads and the loop system, but I didn't actually talk about any parts of the tank. So I just want to show the whole tank, kind of talk about how it's more of a budget tank. And if there's any questions or comments on it, throw them below. But without further ado, here is the tank itself. And starting over here, this area you see in here is the Fiji all-in-one filtration setup. It goes at the end of many of the common sizes, if you will. This one was specific for the 55-gallon. They have one version for 20-gallon long, one version for 75, one version for and each one of these changes size slightly depending on where you're putting it. This one here is about 19 and change long, almost 5 inches in depth, and about 12 inches wide here. If you go on the Fiji website, if you just type in Fiji all-in-one, you'll see the actual dimensions. Now, I did choose this, and I do have some regrets. I'm not going to lie to you. I bought their media basket, and I have buyer's regret on that. It didn't fit. Their media basket did not fit in their tank, so I ended up making this one here. So the one I made, literally just took some egg crate and zip tied it all together. Worked great. It's still doing good things for me. You can kind of see it around the back here. You can see up here I have just biomedia on like filter floss, and coming down there's a bag of Chemipure. But it works great. When I'm talking about the media basket I made, the one from Fiji, I definitely don't recommend it. It did not work for me at all. It was a waste of my money. I'm really not a fan of it. You can also see my high quality cover here. I'll lift this up. And that again, that's just the plastic egg crate that a lot of people are using to put frags on. I didn't want to spend a lot of money on a cover, but I did want to make sure that if I had any homicidal or suicidal fish, that they definitely didn't make it out of the tank. And I did cut a space here so that the light would pass straight through and not get any flaring effects in the tank. But going back down to this end, you can see here's my Fluval skimmer, and it's actually doing really well. You can kind of see there in the skim cup. It's been skimming up a storm. It actually is kicking up a very wet skim. Here's my auto top off line, and the green glow down there is the auto top off sensor. And right here is the Cobalt Aquatics Neotherm. I use that as my heater, and it's so thin that it just sits in there in that one little groove really, really well. And underneath all of this, way down the bottom, is it's a Hydor return pump, 538 gallons per hour, I believe. And that's everything in that all-in-one filtration setup. And then as we come over here, you see the output right up there. Underneath is one of my efflux pumps. As I pan over ever so slowly, dead center there, right behind my little blue-green chromis, is the temperature sensor that goes with the current USA loop system. Over here is another efflux pump. Down here it's Innovative Marine. It's a little grazer, that blue guy in the back there, just in case they want to eat out of there. And they have been picking at it, so there's not much in there right now. As you're looking at the tank, you're actually seeing some random patterns, and you can kind of hear that sound of the ocean. I'll go over that in a second too. Get in the tank here a little. And that sound is coming from these speakers. They're not much, but these two speakers are just plumbed right in to this connection right here, which is hard to see because there's no light. But that connection is for the it goes into the loop system, which is kind of nice. It controls the lights really well. And it's right there. Now this connection up here, again, that's going to the light. These two down here are for the pumps. The video that I did on the actual whole setup gets into all that, but you'll notice a lot of blue painter's tape, and I'll show you down here as well. That blue painter's tape is me labeling things, so I don't have to remember what's what. That's a big issue I had on my very first tank, you know, going back like 10 years. I was very meticulous about the way I wired everything. I had everything zip tied in just so, and I didn't label anything at the end of the day. And it made it fun trying to figure out what was what. Over here to the left, this is my auto top-off area. The water looks a little cloudy. There's actually kalkwasser in there. I've been using that to keep my pH a little high. I've got it about 8.2 now. But you can see it's really not a complicated setup in the underneath. It's very basic. The 5-gallon tank here I've had for, God, at least 7 or 8 years. I've had that power strip forever. I had those speakers, so that portion cost me nothing. This stand here, I think I paid like 80 bucks on Amazon for. Then I bought a leveling pad here. So between, you know, $70 here, $80 here, $20 here, you know, $1.70 between these two. I already had a lot of the stuff in there, but I think the only thing I really bought in here itself was the skimmer at about, you know, $80. So $250 plus another $250 on the current USA setup. So a little over $500 gets me a mostly finished tank. I did buy the sand. I bought new sand. I always like buying new live sand, but I had the rock, so I just from an older tank I had. So I just ended up basically using a 10% bleach solution and soaked the rock in it for a week. Took it out, let it dry out for a week. Pretty basic tank setup. I just didn't want to plumb a sump in. It's sitting at the back of my living room, so I really didn't want the glare from lights, which would be up in this area here. I didn't want glare from up here showing up on my television, which is why I went with such a low profile light. But that's it. That's just a quick tour. If you guys have any questions on the tank, let me know. I'm definitely going to get into doing more with the tank. I have a 2-part setup that I may end up plumbing in, and I may get into, you know, talking about that setup. It's an old setup that I used on my old 125-gallon tank, but I may do it. Haven't decided yet. But again, if you have any questions, comments, you know, concerns, input, if you've heard of any cool extra add-ons for tanks, you know, throw them below. I definitely am looking to do more stuff with the tank, although it has been really fun setting it up. It's a great little tank for my daughter and I. So thanks for watching. Happy reef keeping, and enjoy your tanks, man. Cheers.